I'm Katie Rex, this is Diego. He has opinions too. Mine are generally more positive than his. Today Diego has decided to guest host. He's really happy about it. Hi. I got some cool shit this week. One of the cool things I got was Harbinger Faith, the Zero issue. I love this cover. It's the Star Wars cover. I don't know if you can see it okay. It's cool. It's really cool. I'm excited to have this Zero issue. It's one of my favorite issues of Harbinger they've actually made, so very cool. Other cool thing I got this week. Diego likes it too, he says, is this Spider-Gwen poster of enormous proportion. I can't. I'm excited to put it on my wall of amazing ladies, so you can see behind me. If you click here, you can see more of our awesome lady office. It's pretty rad. We're going to start talking about trade paperbacks that came out this week. Starting with Jim Henson's The Dark Crystal. Creation Myths is the subtitle. And remember when you were a little kid and the Muppets, well, so there were the cute Muppets, right? There was like fucking Miss Piggy and Kermit. And then there was the weird shit that gave us nightmares. And I know a lot of stuff that was scary when we were kids doesn't necessarily hold up to the test of time and it's not scary anymore, but I promise you this is every bit as weird and creepy as it was when you were 6 and you couldn't sleep for like a week after. Diego likes it too. So now we're going to talk about the first issues that come out this week, and there are a lot. There are a lot of first issues that came out. And the first one I want to talk about is called Eat. The palette is amazing. It's these complementary colors, oranges and blues, and they're very muted and very shaded, and the art is just gorgeous. But the story is really cool too, because this guy is going back in time, and then it turns out when he goes back in time it's not exactly like the history of the past that we're familiar with, because there are people that are just like riding dinosaurs, and it's awesome. That's not the only reason I like it, I promise. It's actually just like a very, very good book. Next on our number ones is this new book called Secret Identities. And it's a superhero story. It's very focused on the superhero conceit, and it's not trying to deconstruct it, which is really nice, even though it's like not a Marvel or a DC book. And when we get superhero books from other publishers, a lot of times they're like, oh, I'm pretty, I'm gonna deconstruct the superhero genre. It's not gonna do that, because that's been done a few times. What it is it's a team-up novel. The characters all have superhero origins that we're very familiar with as part of the genre. We've got aliens whose abilities are innate for their species. We've got past beings. There's a dude named Vesuvius because he's like ancient and he's made of lava. The thing that makes this a little bit different than the other superhero stories that you've heard, and not that different, is that one guy is a mole. He's decided to infiltrate the group by doing good deeds, and then he's going to get all sorts of information on all of the team members and then probably murder them all. Next up is going to be Sparks, Nevada, Marshall on Mars, which is an amazing, I think it's an amazing title. It's not a super complex book. It's a very harmless space western. It's a lot of fun. It's a fun light read if that's what you're interested in picking up. The character reminds me a lot of Spider-Man with like the sass and the one-liners, except in this reality, Spider-Man is a horseback riding marshal on Mars and a constant disappointment to his father. So it's very good, totally worth reading. Oh, next, I'm really excited, guys. This is called Plunder #1. If you like horror, fucking pick this up. Diego doesn't like horror. It's about these Somalian pirates, and the story goes into a lot of their personal dynamic, each person's relationship to one another. So it really goes into a lot of the culture and the story behind the clan of people who have become pirates and what led them all to be there, and how they know one another and what their nicknames are and how they got them. Which is funny because it's not actually at all about them as people. It's really about this ship that they board and the disgusting monstrosity that has... I don't want to spoil anything, but if you like things that are really, really warped and fucked up and gory, pick this up this week. It's very good. So I don't know if anybody can tell that I'm a Supernatural fan on the basis of my t-shirt, which is Charlie's tattoo. It's Slade Leia riding a D20, see? Very cool. Hush. But Robbie Thompson, who writes Supernatural, is writing the new Silk #1 from Marvel. So Silk was bitten by the same spider that Peter Parker was bitten by, but she was locked up in a bunker to prevent the inheritors from sensing her presence. So Spider-Man fucked up. He opened the bunker like he does, and Spider-Verse thing happens. So anyway, that's all over and resolved and stuff, and that's cool. And so now Silk is back in New York City with like a decade of pop culture to catch up on and deal with. So I think Gwen even says it, that she's maybe a little behind the times on some of her quips. So that's a #1, probably worth picking up this week. Next up are some of our favorite ongoing series, starting with The Fuse, #10. And if you're not familiar with the story yet, I don't want to tell you too much, because there's a bit to catch up on. I will say that it's about this really cool badass lady cop named Clementina. Anyway, Clem's like this crotchety old cop, like Diego. Not that he's a cop, but he is crotchety and old. He's also not skinny. You wanna show them you're not skinny? You wanna show them? Look at that big boy! Look at that big boy! The other important thing you need to know about The Fuse #10 is that it's basically Law and Order in a deeply corrupt, self-sustaining spaceport. So, really cool, definitely worth checking out, The Fuse #10. The new issue of Miles Morales, Ultimate Spider-Man, #10. Follows Miles confessing to his father and his girlfriend, not his father's girlfriend, but his own girlfriend, that he is Spider-Man. So they're both really shocked by this, and we find out that his dad, or we may know that his dad was previously an agent for S.H.I.E.L.D. Not an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., an agent for S.H.I.E.L.D. And so he knows a little bit of what Spider-Man's responsibilities and dangers are going to be like. So understandably, he's feeling a little protective of his son and is very much concerned for his well-being. So now Miles gets why his dad was so shocked, but we're going to maybe look into a little bit of why his girlfriend was so shocked. Which ostensibly could be, oh my god, I didn't know that I was dating Spider-Man. And may or may not Next up on ongoings would be Ms. Marvel number 12. This issue, it's sort of a belated Valentine's Day issue. So remember that amazing Will Smith movie called Hitch? Well, pretend that this issue is Hitch and Loki is Will Smith, and Kamala obviously can't go to the dance because her parents are not gonna let her, but that cute boy Bruno, you know, her friend, he totally wants to go with her, so Loki Will Smith is gonna sort of coach him into making that happen. It's really cute. It's a really cute issue. If you love the whole Kamala is a relatable and realistic teenager thing, this is your issue. Even though Loki is maybe not the most realistic character that you might have in your life, that's really your detriment. Lumberjanes number 11 is up next. And if you have been following this series at all, you'll know that right now, queerness intensifies. Joe and April and Riley are all trying to get badges that have those same amazing names that the badges have consistently had, starting this issue with Absence Makes the Heart Grow Fondant, which is a cake decorating badge, which is amazing and delightful, and I love it. So I don't know what to say without spoiling it, except go fucking pick up this book. Next up in ongoings is Rocket Salvage number 3, which I've been following from the beginning. I didn't know what I was picking up when I first got into it, but it's pretty fantastic. There's this guy, his name is Primo Rocket, and his son is actually his beta clone, because he has a doctor buddy that will grow clones for you so that you can harvest them for their parts. But his daughter is also his clone, but a girl, and I'm not exactly sure how that works. And this issue, we learned that in addition to being his female clone version self and a super genius, she might be something more. Next up, we're going to talk about Unity number 15 from Valiant. And this issue follows our buddy Ninjak, who is named Ninjak. I mean, his name is Colin, but he's Ninjak, and he's fucking Ninjak. And he has PTSD, so this issue has a lot of like really cool panel layouts where I don't know if it's just the layout or if it's the layout with the coloring, but the flashes of PTSD are really powerful. It's just really, the art is gorgeous, and it's the beginning of a new arc, even though it's Unity number 15, so this is a pretty good time to pick up on it. Plus, it's an intro to our buddy Ninjak, who is about to get his own ongoing, so if you are interested in maybe picking that up down the line, pick this up, get a little taste of Ninjak. Gross. Gross. Just try it. Next up is Charmed Season 10, number 5. And you'll notice that Diego has left. He couldn't stand you blood-sucking paparazzi up in his grill. We're going to talk about Charmed Season 10, number 5. You'll remember that the show only went to Season 8, so Season 9 was also in comic form from Zenescope. We're now at the end of the first arc of the second comic book season, and it's a graveyard fight, which is really cool. The series really encapsulates what we loved about the show. There are really, really pretty girls, and there is a lot of sassy one-liners and some snark. There's a lot of dumb, shitty dialogue, but like in a way that's really true to the show, where you're like, people don't talk like that. So it's pretty great, and it's super girly. Like the Hallowell sisters talk about how, fuck it, I need a spa day. Plus, you know, witchcraft. It's sort of not as climactic as I was hoping for, but it's still pretty great. And it's really everything I wanted out of the show. Oh, and if you didn't read Season 9, not to spoil everything but Prue's back. So now it's time for our book of the week. This week the book is Bitch Planet number 3. And I just fucking love Bitch Planet. Last issue, number 2, was all about Kamau Kogo, and we talked a lot about her, I think, on an earlier episode of the show. And so now we get to talk about Penny Rule. And Penny is the woman with the Born Big tattoo, and her story really answers a lot of the questions that I had about the universe. Like, for instance, how does somebody get that fat? If being fat is a crime, how does she get to that point and not just a little obese without already being locked up in prison, for instance? How does somebody grow up in that society and not only be non-compliant, but do so in a way that is owning it, that is embracing it? This story addresses a lot of that, and one of the things that it talks about is Penny's relationship with her mother. And it's really heartwarming. Also, on Penny's rap sheet, like legally, former citations of hers are aesthetic offenses and wanton obesity, which is just another way that this fucking book is. It's got a lot to say, and it says it well. So that's it for our show. Don't forget to comment below about how we missed things, maybe. I don't know, what did we not read this week that we should have been reading? And follow me on Twitter. I'm at EOTU Comics, and subscribe to our show, and we'll see you next Wednesday.